Inflation is rising drastically. Let's take a look at how that's impacting your cryptocurrency portfolios. Okay guys, let's take a look at the impact inflation is having on our physical holdings. Is that going to be the case for the foreseeable future? Are we going to eventually see that changing? Well, just so you know, prices of goods and services are rising drastically across the board globally. Okay, it's inflation really rising. We've seen it in a lot of major economies such as the UK and US and many others. So let's just take a look at how it's having an impact right now. Okay, so here, look, I'll explain this in previous videos. Bitcoin has been falling, right, since the back end of 2021, since November, right after those all-time highs up here. Been falling. If you take a look here, you can see US inflation's been rising. It's been really picking up some pace since sort of the back end of last year. So price of goods and services are going through the roof, okay? And with that being said, as I say, Bitcoin has been falling. Now, let's just take a look at something here. The first explanation, and the key one, is this is US 10-year yield, government bonds. Now, with inflation rising, it's going to force the central bank, the FOMC, and other central banks are doing it as well, to raise their interest rates. Okay, so the rates of return that you pay on interest, but also as an investor, the rate or the yield that you get on your investment when you're investing in these, government bonds, corporate bonds, whatever the case may be. So here is the US 10-year yield. Really, really important that you look at this, guys. This is the 10-year yield. It's offering a yield at the moment of around 2%. It has popped above that. We're at the highest levels that we've seen in a very, very long time. Okay, so as an investor, if you put your money in this government bond, you're going to get a nice yield, stable yield of return. Now, obviously, look, don't get me wrong. Cryptocurrency offers amazing yield, tremendous. So why on earth would you want to put your money in fixed income? Why? But a lot of institutional players, people that want safety, the vast majority of the market at the moment is still, seeking safety. Obviously, the more hungry guys are coming in for appetite for risks such as cryptocurrency, but a lot of people still wanting to seek safety, stability, stable gains. So that's why what we're seeing here, because the yields are rising in anticipation that the Federal Reserve and other central banks are going to keep on hiking interest rates and offering more return for your exchange on a safe, more on your investment. That's why people are outflowing. We're seeing outflows from cryptocurrency and money going in to fixed income such as this. Now, look, could this potentially change? Yes, it can, because before we get onto Bitcoin in a moment, just want to explain something. When price of goods and services are rising so much, but wages aren't, what's happening to that dollar? It's requiring, the dollar is nothing compared to the rate of the cost of these goods and services. Your dollar is not going far at all. It's going nowhere, especially when wages aren't rising to match the rate at which prices are going up. Okay, it's stripping affordability completely. So what do people do to hedge against that? Okay, to hedge against how weak their dollar is, or how far the dollar's not going with the rate of goods and services rising. What they've been doing in the past is they invest in gold. Gold is seen as a hedge against inflation. Okay, people put their money there, against potentially the eroding dollar, because the dollar's not stretching far enough. So they put their money to cover their, their butts, essentially invest in gold. So you can see as well, since the back end of last year, or even really it sort of held some ground at the back end of last year, and then we're picking up pace now in 2022. Gold has been rising. Gold has been rising as a hedge against inflation. Now, there are many big players that are suggesting that perhaps one day, soon come, that Bitcoin is used as a hedge against inflation. A lot of economies such as like the likes of Ecuador, Venezuela, or particularly let's speak about Venezuela. They've been suffering with hyperinflation for many years, where price of goods and services are rising so drastically. So what a lot of Venezuelans did, the citizens, is they started instead putting their money into Bitcoin, using Bitcoin to pay for things. A lot of vendors and goods and services in Venezuela have been accepting Bitcoin now. And that's as a hedge against the rising drastic inflation, how the Venezuelan currency, I can't remember the name, has been, eroded. Okay, eroded because it cannot meet with the drastic rising of goods and services prices there, of inflation. So People have been putting their money into Bitcoin. So with that being said, with rising inflation across the board set to potentially erode currency's value, people use that instead go into cryptocurrency to hedge against that. So at some point, what we could see is similar to what's being observed with gold being as a hedge, but instead there's more incentive to invest in cryptocurrency because we can use it as a form of payment with many more adopters coming into play. As I explained earlier in the week, the mass adoption that we're seeing. So perhaps we start seeing that with Bitcoin. And obviously, as I said, the real bull case we need to do to see Bitcoin flying is break back above this psychological 50K area, all right? And then we go to the moon. So that's just to bring you a bit of up to speed as to how inflation's having an impact right now. Obviously, it's capping our cryptocurrency holdings, but at some point we can see that switching and instead be used as a hedge against inflation. I expect that very, very soon, to be honest with you. All right, guys. For more content, please, as I say, I'll tell you my next video in a moment. Subscribe. Smash up that subscribe button, please. Hit up that like button, please. Follow me on Instagram, please. I'll stop that. And follow CoinCasso. As a reminder, with CoinCasso, guys, it's a massive investment opportunity. Diversify your investments. Invest in a cryptocurrency exchange. They're profitable 365 days a year. They have serious credibility. They're growing. Check out the link in the description to get involved in that. Other than that, that's it from me. I will tell you my next video, well, when you watch it. Let's get it.